guys, let's close this conference in style with our final keynote, Alberto. Alberto has been with us from the beginning, taking part in a lot of our conference, and we are very proud to have him today as a keynote speaker. Thanks to his vast experience, Alberto can bring us his point of view on what could happen when developers are unable to do their work with pressure and what could be the consequence. So, give Alberto a big hand.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And yes, I have to say thank you about this talk actually to Cristiano here that was actually chasing me, not the elephants, in order to ask me to tell something that I may have seen in closed doors type of meetings and stuff like that. So a little bit about me, like I used to be a developer. I'm still coding for my personal health and safety because I talk too much and I need to code sometimes just to get sane. I work a lot in the domain-driven design, agile area. I invented even storming. That's the stuff that I'm doing most of the time. And the other thing that I do is just smell bullshit when it happens to be, which is quite often. Talking about this talk is definitely not technical. It's a lot more, I don't know if it's inspirational. Maybe it's just the opposite. But I will talk about stuff you know, stuff you've already seen. You probably never named them. And was something like try to connect a pub rent, or maybe there is a plan, maybe there is a connection after all. So let's start. I have a few stories to tell. Let's start from my first elephant in the room. It's actually maybe not exactly the first, but was the first for me when I started becoming a freelancer. And it was I had the chance to join one project, and the customer wanted new architecture for the software, and that was what I was good at that time. But, you know, you go there, you talk with people, then you realize, like, you have a more serious problem than just architecture. Just like there's something more serious here, something is missing. And the answer was, you're not hired to care about this stuff. You're just an architect. Somebody else is going to take care about the rest of the stuff. And I was feeling this. It was even worse than that. It was just a little bit of feeling of just being, playing in the band of the Titanic. It's just like, I want to be the best drummer in the band, or violin player in the band. I mean, if you are on a sinking ship, doesn't matter how well you play. I mean, even if they found where the Titanic is, I mean, nobody even look at this wonderful song now. They played fantastically. So the other thing is, the other thing that I realized at that time, I mean, that was a really strong feeling, like labels are crap. Roles are crap. Like in between, the real thing that we needed to do was just have people with a common goal and try to solve the stuff. And that was what I thought. But in the end, the lesson for me at that time was actually really little. It was just like, saying no is an option. So I just said, like, I actually don't want to be here, even if I would just started freelancing and I actually needed that money. I felt like, no. It was really, really, look at the blueprints. This boat is going to be huge. And no, please. The second story is something that I've seen actually many places lately. It's just like, I gave it a name, the accelerated growth. It actually happens in 4 distinct phases. And I think quite a few of you has experienced something like that. So phase 1 is just inception. You got an idea, you got a plan. Maybe you're kicking off a startup, maybe it's a big project, something that's starting to work, so you start building a team for doing great stuff, and then you end up doing this thing, like piling up features in any possible way. So sometimes you're doing it in a good way. You might end up with good software, good architecture. Sometimes you just rush. You just feel like, I have to add this and this and this. But actually, it's fun time. You are creating something. There is energy. There is good vibe in the team, and you're doing good stuff. And so actually nobody really cares. Problem is when this thing starts working, and then, well, we have to follow the business, we have to follow the money, we have to ramp up. And you got investors or somebody realize, oh, this is going to be our next business. Well, you guys did a wonderful work, and let's scale it up. And since there is more money, more pressure, and more functionalities to add, you got into hiring frenzy. I don't know if you ever been there, like, oh, we need to hire more people, and then, well, who's going to make the interview to these people? Well, the best people to do this are usually senior developers. So, well, you are interviewing people instead of coding, so actually this slows down. And when you get into the point, like, I'm getting tired of talking with all these junior developers, then you start externalizing recruiting. You have somebody else to select the candidates for you. And, well, at the end, you just need to hire somebody, and you need more people on the team. And it just the thing starts getting bigger and bigger. And feels like, well, the bigger it gets, the more interruption you're getting, the more meetings you're going to have, the more people you have to talk in the meetings. Or maybe you're trying not to have so many meetings and keep somebody doing their stuff without interrupting you. And, well, bugs starts growing up. Well, because he didn't have the time to close the old one, but, well, you know, more people trying to do more stuff with the old code base. So you still have the energy, but a lot of the other stuff is gone. I don't know if you've been there. This accelerated stuff, but it looks like the strategy is like this one. Unfortunately, nobody ever in IT said anything like that, like, we hide random views. Awesome, that's the strategy. In Italian, it's yes, something like dogs and pigs, but yeah, you know that. So then when you run out of energy for recruiting, when you just created the crater in the job market and you can't recruit for more than 200 kilometers from the headquarters of your company, then you realize, look, we have a bottleneck in recruiting. We cannot recruit more people. We cannot train primary school kids. We need to do something for that, so that you try to get into a parallel universe, and what you do, you just do outsourcing, and then what happens is just the internal developers now are coordinators of the project that happens outside of the boundaries of your company, which is, yeah, it's just career advancement. That's it. Now you're controlling, look like you're managing somebody. You have the big M in your business card. That's great stuff. That's improvement. Maybe you even have a little bit higher salary, but the thing is, you're now controlling an external team. Great stuff. You are in the pro league. But then what happens is just some of these good internal developers that started creating that thing, it just moved from doing to controlling to fixing. And yeah, we still call it scaling. We call it bureaucracy sometimes. You can even call it boredom. It's not as fun as it used to be. I used to be a creator of something, and then I'm just telling some other people what to do. Or even checking if they finished the homework. Oh, you let me go through your commit. Oh, that was not what I paid for. Well, I was supposed to be paid for, but yeah, that's another story. But there's another inconvenient truth, a little bit of an elephant in the room, actually maybe the biggest elephant in the room, because nobody really talks about it, but it's actually big. So that's our dirty elephant, which is in many cases, even in large scale on the job market, what happens is actually this one. Bad developers write code, and good developers do the cleanup. I don't know if you've been there. In many places, that's exactly what happens. So let's take a look at one expert about this stuff, which is, yeah, Gordon Ramsay. That's exactly what I paid for. I wanted to become a really good developer. What I do, I'm cleaning up the dishes of somebody else. I don't think this is a stable situation. This is not an equilibrium. There's something really wrong going on here. And what happens is actually that this thing cannot last. So phase number 4 is you get into legacy land because, yeah, one outsourcing project is ended. And usually, a lot of people talk about technical debt that did it too. But one of the things when it goes with outsourcing, one of a good question about technical debt is just who's going to pay that. And the thing is, well, the technical debt stays in the company while the team leaves. And that's what people can call legacy. And quite a few good developers leave. Why? Actually, it's pretty simple. It's just like if I have an option to start over again, that's where the fun was. Like, or I might be still hooked into this project just because of maybe money, maybe stock options, stuff like that. But there's still something which is gone. Like the fun at the beginning is gone. There's another thing that bugs me because I've seen this schema repeating more and more. And so let's look at the whole schema. So it's not like something good, like, well, we have enough budget, we have an opportunity, we were doing something good. We hire contractors, and what could happen is just increase the amount of crappy code. And internals start to coordinate externals, and then it starts to go rotten in many, many cases. Not every time, like there's good company contracting, but the accelerated growth, like push the pedal, I have the money. The thing that bugs me is just I put more money in the system and I destroy it. That's the thing that I really can't understand, because it's something like, it's so predictable. It's just like, how can we always end up in this way? I would say the explanation is actually really simple. It's just like this one. You have a plant, you want to make it grow, you put water. You double the water, the plant is not going to grow 2 times faster. There's a point. The growth speed is given. You cannot just float the valley in order to have more plants. It's not going to work like this. If you have more money and you put too much money, too much growth, too much pressure, you're gonna kill the whole stuff. So, summary is just being richer doesn't make you right. And that's not an Italian problem. That's a problem worldwide. Just to be sure, and just like. Another little point of view, I was actually looking for one specific picture, but it was actually funnier to see what happens when you Google software developer and you get images. That's the top of the list. So blue is the color. I don't know why blue. Maybe the blue screen of that, but I'm not sure that's a real reason. But there's something even weirder. Let's add some more red. Let's talk about. Okay, I was looking at the source code here. It's exactly the same thing. So, but that's the photographer. Anyway, look at this guy. Why is he smiling? His clear is lacking off, not working. Poor bastard. Yeah. And what else? Gears. I mean, we're not working with the Babbage machine anymore. I mean, it's just like we're not. And here, gears too. What about that? That's even more disturbing. Look at this picture. You have the software developer right in the middle, and he looks clueless with 2 people telling him what to do. Look, you should put a comma over there. Oh, yes, a comma. You definitely need a comma. I am a supervisor. Put a comma over there. And I'm not finished. What about? Yeah, a little kid, yeah. Actually, I like the kid metaphor, but they went too far away. That's actually too small. I totally like the approach of a kid trying to learn, but that's not the thing. So we have only few people left, and look at this one. This guy is clearly watching porn. Nobody's looking at this screen. Look at this face, obsessed, clearly. So the only one left is this guy, my man. Yeah, so that is the thing. That's still the thing in 2017. Developers do think in zeros and one, and then mind control it straight into the screen. That's the metaphor for software development. Oh shit. 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1. Yeah, 0. The thing is, for me, is the recurring problem right now is just we still have a blind spot. There's still something that is not visible to the eye. Large company, small company. The only exception is companies founded straight by software developers. But when there's a large business and software development, we always have a blind spot. Actually, quite a few of them. So, blind spot number one. Many companies have never seen a real senior developer. They have no clue what this is. They consider software development to be a cost, and it's some cost that you have to control, and the only way to control cost is just make sure the estimates are right, because we don't want to spend more, and because, well, the software is just stuff that we have to do. But the sad part of this stuff is just they probably never will. And the other thing that is probably bad strategy, we're going to say later why they are never going to see them. Still, what they want to do is, yeah, we want to reward individual productivity. We still can't understand what a good software developer is. But maybe, given the number of zeros and one passing from my brain to the screen, I could even get bitcoins out of it, maybe. So, well, when I find this one, and there was still a discussion about it on a Scrum mailing list, something like a couple of weeks ago. Yes, my boss needs to understand how he can reward people inside the team, and now it's unclear because they're all part of a team. That was the purpose. But anyway, let's take a different perspective, talking about money and rewarding. It's coming from Martin Fowler. It's actually a pretty good old article, and good, from 2008. It's called the cheaper talent hypothesis. Well, that's not the whole article here, but the point here was the hypothesis is that better developers are actually cheaper. And there's good reason for that, because, well, individual productivity or even team productivity of good developers could be orders of magnitude bigger than the average developer. Well, the salary is very hard to be one order of magnitude bigger than this one. So even if I'm just a clueless gambler betting on hiring, it would probably make a good strategy to try only to hire seniors instead of going to hire juniors. So I didn't mention negative productivity. Oh yes, when you probably met that guy that if you add it to the team, everything slows down. If it goes on holiday, then everything goes perfectly. Yes, we have that too. That's a pretty good job in our case. But talking about only game theory, that's the thing. We could be a lot more productive. I mean, I said we, like good developers, could be really a lot more productive than the average. But the salary, I mean, I don't think you work in a place where your desk mate is taking 10 times your salary. That's definitely not going to happen. So in a scenario like this, what would you do? If this was just a gamble, then I would probably place my bet only on seniors, because I have a higher probability to win a higher prize. But what happens in reality? What happens in reality is another thing, because of two entangled elephants. So one of the things is, well, seniors are slightly more expensive, but also more risky. Why are they more risky? Because you can't recognize a good senior if you've never seen one. So what you get somebody with well, I knew of a person. It was a kind of a local legend in my area. A person had a fake curriculum and a fake LinkedIn profile, and yeah, he kept being hired from company to company, and worked pretty well. Was even making more money than the colleagues. But so the thing is, the people hiring have a very hard time recognizing a good senior, unless you know him already, unless there's already some channel. But if there's not, blind developers, like, yeah, how many zeros and one can you transmit to the computer screen? And so that's the part they can't see, that's the part they can see, more expensive. What's the result? Yeah, let's hire more junior instead. Or maybe we couldn't find a senior. Or maybe the people were so senior that decided to look stupid during the interview process just not to be hired. In general, the problem we face is this one. Years of experience not make seniority at all. So what happens? Yes, let's hire juniors instead. That's strategy number 2. Now, let's look at this strategy a little bit better, because the secret plan of this strategy is actually what I call the young promise scenario, which is we're going to hire a lot of juniors. One will shine. I mean, they can't be, each one of them, a bad developer, so somebody's going to be good. Big numbers. We're just betting. And yes, provide them training so that they could be seniors. And then step number 3, just like, no, step number 2 was a joke. We just, so the real strategy is hire cheap, put pressure, and then see what happens. So then the scenario is, I don't know if you've been there. I've seen it happening quite a few times. It's just like, what happens when you hire somebody that turns out to be really smart and then discover he's really smart? Because for some time, I mean, this guy could stay in the company and realize that he's being treated like a good guy. Oh, yes. But then he will open up his eyes, her eyes at the given moment and realize, oh, there's some other developers around here. This company doesn't exist in a vacuum. Or what happens when he realizes that he's the only person keeping everything alive and everybody else is just, slacking off or something. I've met quite a few people that had this oh shit type of moment. And what happens? Well, what they do is just, they leave. There's no solution, no career advancement, no opportunity. Oh yes, you are supposed to wait. You're gonna become senior by aging. I'm not a whiskey. That's not how I become good. And or they will realize, oh no, please stay. But that's already too late. Like even if you put more money, no. So if you need probably the best model behind it is the one coming from Daniel Pink, the good old book about motivation and purpose and so on. And the model behind it, well, if you don't want to read the book, take a look at this video, short and right to the point. But the rule, the thing that makes us do things, the thing that motivates us is actually these 3 things. Autonomy, being able to do stuff without help, and we have bureaucracy instead, or we have a lot of collaboration. How many people do you need in order to put the checkbox from front end to persistence? 30 people, real answer in a real company. No, that's totally not possible. Or mastery, are you good in what you're doing? And purpose, what is the thing that we are doing? Are we really, who are we helping? What's the reason why we're doing that? It's not necessarily the balance sheet. It cannot be only money. And that's the only way you can find a good environment to keep the good people. If this is missing, that's not going to work. Kill mastery, like we only do store procedure. I don't care about the new stuff you're doing. Well, we just put everything in the database just to be safe. Anybody said microservices? Nah. Everybody said domain-driven design? Nah. No, it doesn't work. This stuff is for the Americans. No, doesn't work for us. doesn't compile in Europe. Yeah, and so we have a problem with this. We have a problem with talent, retaining and understanding talent, and they will leave the moment they realize they are talented. Well, look at this, right in the hoop. The thing is, where will they go? And the answer is damn simple, but it's also kind of scary. Well, the answer is this one, actually. Good developers go where good developers are. It's just you are here in a conference, in a community, and then the next place you want to be is where the good guys are. You would like, what's the reason? So, well, let's see. Okay, yes, somebody was taking pictures. That's a good one. Okay. Yeah. And it's not about being a pack or being part of a team or being part of something. Well, I mean, that really helps, but the thing behind it is just we are in a state of continuous denial of our nature. And the real nature is just like we are constantly looking for stuff to learn. And or for this one, good stuff to do. So are we doing something important? I won't leave this company. I won't leave this workplace. I have a mission. Am I learning something? I'm going to stay till I learn everything. Is there anything else to learn? Or what's left to learn is not exactly what I really want to learn. I don't want to learn about management dysfunction. I don't want to learn about hidden bugs in our legacy code. That's not the stuff I want to learn. I want to learn something which is purposeful, maybe for the world, maybe for me, or maybe something that gives me the reward of doing a good job. In general, I overuse the next slide. It's in every presentation that I use, and so I try to tell it to everybody, like, software development is not a building process anymore. It used to be. We had to the point where we started from, the punch cards, and writing code was a damn long activity. Now there's, too much technology. Well, not too much. So much technology that writing code, delivering the result is actually easy. Delivering the right result is the thing which is really hard. And that's the thing we are totally not good at. And that's the area where we might improve a lot. But I don't want to put the finger on that one because I did it in so many other presentations. I would like to focus on why. There's some buffering. Zero. See that? I guarantee it was not planned. You know we were talking about that. I guarantee it was not planned. But yes, good guy. Anyway, so the thing here is just good software developers are compulsive learners. We need to learn something. It's just like water for us. And if there's nothing left to learn, no water left to drink, gone, end of the fun. Or the other trick that we use is just, why not inject in new technology? Project is boring. Well, let's do it in Haskell. Why? Just put Haskell. Let's put Node.js. Let's put Angular. Let's put React, whatever. The thing is, that's necessary. I realized it like 1 year ago. I stopped feeling guilty for adding new technology. Like, it's not being unprofessional. It's just like my nature. I am a learner. If there's nothing to learn, then I won't ever finish that thing. It's just like it's going to be too boring. Am I writing one more invoicing software in Java? No. It's not even about the money. I would never have the energy to finish it. So when there's no learning left, good developers start to feel boring and leave. Another big elephant. Remember, I said like it is a learning process. It's actually a hard process of gathering information from the right people and try to understand what is the right thing to do. But the thing is, why is this supposed to be that hard? That's the part I totally don't understand. That's the part I'm working on with Even Storming. But I really think that's a stupid problem. I'm making money trying to solve them, but why? Let me make some example from real life project. It's just like, I was in a project where the development team was not supposed to talk with the users. I was actually in 2 projects where the development team was forbidden to talk with the user. Well, just imagine a conversation could just corrupt the zeros and the ones. Just unacceptable. Not supposed to talk with the real expert. Oh, we have a business analyst in the middle. We have the product owner in the middle. And, oh, no, if you make a developer talk with the real expert, he's going to talk about zeros and ones. It's not supposed to work. No. And not supposed to talk with the real customer. Oh, we have an intermediate. You know the scenario. This is even nastier. That could be like kind of visible. Have you ever been in places where you were contracting for a company that was already subcontracting from another company, a Chinese box type of stuff? You're supposed to go there, but you're never supposed to talk for which company are you working. And you have no idea, and then one day, oh, you just used the wrong emails. Yeah, because then you discover that you were not actually for that company, and oh, what a mess. And then you have to pretend that you're not existing, and yeah. Can you realize the mindset? I mean, this is horribly stupid already in a manufacturing process. But if we think about it as a learning process, how the hell are we supposed to learn? It's just like you're supposed to pass an exam, but you're not supposed to read the real book. You're not even supposed to tell that you are a student. You're supposed to be behind somebody else. I mean, this stuff doesn't make any sense. And even more, there's actually something even worse. And I've seen it in a couple of places where all of this development process was engineered with many teams handing off stuff to another team that then added the customization on top of it and made it ready for a given market, and everything looked like a clockwork machinery. And I was looking at it and I said, like, I would never ever work in a place like that, because the feeling that I had looking at all the schema, and the guy was telling me, yes, that's exactly the way it should work. And I said, no, it can't. There was no possibility for a real person to realize what was the final user and to get them thank you. Just like the game was like, if I do anything wrong, I will be blamed by the whole company. Yeah, stupid Italian guy that just committed that stuff. But if I did everything perfect, no guarantee that the stuff was working, and I would never, ever get a thank you from the person I maybe solve a problem. And just yesterday, we ended up I was just finishing over a discussion on Twitter that was totally resonating with what I was thinking and preparing for this talk. And Tim Oettinger, working for Industrial Logic, great company in the United States, just when purpose is abstracted away, mastery becomes purpose. Hence the passion of the functionary for their function. For us software developers, it's just like the feeling of, I have no idea what this software project is for. I have no idea what the users are for. But look at how well indented is my code. Look at I test everything, or stuff like that. I am a craftsman. No, not really. You have no idea what are you crafting for. But since that real purpose is lost, you need to find a way to justify the fact that you're doing a good job. No, we are not there yet. So what happens is exactly this. I'm a craftsman. I'm a product owner. I have to justify my work by I take care of the backlog. I make architecture. I do stuff. No. I'm the boss, so I will decide at the end. Some other stuff, not exactly secret, but yes, real story too. And that happened quite a long time ago. And I had to take a look at a huge code base, yeah, around this 500,000 lines of code, pretty obsolete, pretty ugly. The type of stuff the guys of the Tigers, I'm missing the name now, but the initial keynote, the guys saved in Italy, are dealing with. So that exactly that type of stuff. And oscillating between useless and poisonous. So it was actually a moment when I was looking at this listing, and I realized this stuff is actually doing nothing. Something like 4 branched if then else, 30 lines of code long, none of which was ever going to be executed. So something I could take away, wrap up, and destroy it. The other part of the code base was actually hated by everybody else. There was a framework for front-end that was slowing down developers, something like it took 5 times more to write a page with that technology than with any other. I mean, this type of horrible stuff. And everybody was complaining about every possible services. And of course, there was a custom ORM. No way out. But there was a political backing to revive the project. That was the question I managed to ask only really, really later. Like, how many users? And nobody was really answering. Oh, you never know. How many users? And then finally, one guy said, like, we made a calculation. Said, like, probably every single click on this thing costed to the contributors between 2,000, 3,000 euros. Great stuff, guys. So we had all the possible elements in the same room, and I said, like, goodbye, and went away completely, just no. And totally no purpose. Yes, goodbye. But that's not a public sector story only, just not so much time ago. It's just like I was visiting a really cool startup in London. They had tons of money. I mean, really, really tons of money. They had incredibly cool technology. They had the best people. And they had not, I mean, there was something like, what the hell is this thing for? Oh, wow, the user's going to do this and this and this. And it smells like, But it was not my market. And I just feel like I had the feeling something is wrong. And I was just doing a really short gig with them, so that was okay. It was not joining the band. But then the thing is, boom, just finished. Just they actually went to the newspapers, and pretty interesting story. There was actually nothing at the given moment. Money finished, people disappeared, and so on. There was quite a funny thing, though, just like the symptoms were not that different. Like, if you have no connection with the real user, if you have no real problem to solve, if you just have assumption about, well, users will, and so on, you end up overthinking, you end up adding features, you totally lose consistency of the project, and that connection is lost. Just so many people speculating, making hypotheses, some assumption, and so on. And that conversation was totally sick, I would say. So let's try to wrap up and make a few takeaways. If I can't find a connection, if there is a common problem that I've seen in large and small companies, it's just like software development, it still manages a production process. And I know it's easier to think like that. I know it's easier to say that, like, if I double the budget, you're gonna double productivity. But it doesn't work like that. It just is too naive. I can't accept in 2017 anybody managing software development having this totally naive assumption. It's actually better to think like gardening, like you have an area where you can control it. It doesn't work like that. It is not a production process. I know the only visible outcome is delivered software. but that doesn't make the project a delivery process. The process a delivery process, sorry. And this is a slide that should have been before. So the advice is actually think about the ecosystem. It's harder because it's totally not linear. It's not something like if you do this, then you get that. If you do that, then you get that instead. It's actually something that you can control. But the thing that you have to master is actually learning, even more fun, and then delivery will happen. Biggest thing along the way, well, actually, offices, space, cubicles, really the amount of interaction. I mean, could you really think like you can learn something like, yeah, Alberto, yeah, sorry, no, don't worry, yeah. But I was just trying to read, oh, yeah, sorry, no, it doesn't work like this. You can't work in a place like, and you can't even think like learning by always taking a seat in your own office and just thinking zeros and one and so on. That doesn't happen like that. And it's not only, it's actually many things that we have to learn. It's just your personal mastery, what you need to be on the right side of the job market, but also it's actually needed to have options, to be able to solve the problem not only one way, to be able to be in the position to choose between different options, taking risk, and eventually say a motivated no to the business when the project they are asking you to do is purposeless. And that's exactly the second point. It's just that's for software developer. If you can't find a purpose for your project, I would say saying no is totally an option. I never regretted leaving a project that had no purpose. And on the other way, if you can't find a purpose for your project, I've seen average developers becoming really good, just delivering stuff with their peers and doing a pretty good job. Because there was a purpose, because there was somebody that was benefiting from our code, because we had a mission. If you can't find it, okay, let's just write tests, or we are supposed to do agile, or we are supposed to add this new technology. So the mantra is actually really simple. That's a mission. Find your real users, make them happy, repeat. Looks a little bit like the refactoring cycle, the TDD cycle, but that's exactly it, only on a bigger scale. Repeat, find your real users, make them happy, establish a connection, try to understand what are the problems that you're solving. Solve the problem, repeat. So actually, that's it. So many untold things, so many things that are supposed to be like this, but no, it's actually really simple. So that's my finishing, that's my goodbye, farewell, and have a nice weekend to you. And yeah, hope you had a good time.